Star Wars fans, I've been thinking about that Book of Boba Fett trailer nonstop since Monday, and I have a wild theory on some of the things I think they're trying to tell us in the trailer and maybe even hide in plain sight. Let's talk about Luke Skywalker, Djin, and Boba's journey. What's up, everybody? It's Josh coming at you from Nerd Ventures Tower. As per usual, smash like on this video if you love that Book of Boba Fett trailer and you are excited to see it all take place later this year on Disney+. So we're going to get pretty sweaty with this theory. A lot of this is fanboy dreaming. A lot of this is conjecture. Some of it has to do with what is actually in the trailer, but a lot of it is informed with things that I have heard about the show, different rumors and leaks that are out there. So take it with a grain of salt. Maybe not your cup of tea if you want to stay spoiler free, but there were some reveals in the trailer that seem to prove old leaks correct. So I don't think it's crazy to start with the first episode of Mandalorian Season 2, where we first see Boba Fett teased out. I personally have come to believe that the time where Boba was on Tatooine after making it out of the Sarlacc pit, but yet not trying to get his armor back from Cobb Vanth, is a very interesting time period. A lot of fans cannot wrap their head around why Boba would be there with the Tuskens. He would seemingly know that Cobb Vanth had his armor as he goes to track it when it goes off-world. He sees Din Djarin going to Mos Eisley with the armor, so he had to be aware of what was happening, but he didn't go get the armor. Why was he just chilling? I personally think this will have to do with the fact the Tusken Raiders are likely the folks that saved Boba either from the actual Sarlacc pit or from dying in the desert after he is released from the Sarlacc pit. There's all sorts of crazy theories onto how he could actually get out of it. Maybe he actually works his own way out of it, blasts his way out of the Sarlacc's stomach, or maybe the Krayt Dragon comes up, eats the Sarlacc, which is sort of teased out in The Mandalorian, and then Boba is dispelled from the dying Sarlacc after it's destroyed by the Krayt Dragon. Regardless, we know that the Jawas find Boba Fett's armor in the sand. It's corroded from the Sarlacc. This is in Chuck Wendig's novels, and it is further explained in the actual show when Cobb Vanth talks about how he got the armor from the Jawas. So this is where the first part of my theory is coming in. You see, I believe we will come to find out that Boba Fett has a new lease on life, and this sort of begins after he is saved from the Sarlacc by the Tusken Raiders. I think we will see something similar to what happens with Tom Cruise in The Last Samurai, where he is saved by this sort of native tribe. He lives among them for some time and actually finds parts of their culture and belief systems really enjoyable. He goes native a little bit and actually finds a lot of solace in being around the Tusken Raider. I think the Tusken Raider tribes may have similar beliefs or customs that the Foundlings had in Mandalorian culture or in certain parts of Mandalorian culture. And so what I think happens is that first episode of The Mandalorian Season 2 becomes a call to action for Boba when he watches Din Djarin actually get the Tusken Raiders to work with the people of Tatooine and for all of them together to take over and beat the Krayt Dragon. I think that when Boba sees that, he's going to see a path for himself forward. And this all ties into the dialogue from the trailer in a discussion that I do believe Boba is actually having with Din Djarin. Many people have said that it definitely sounds like Pedro Pascal and Din Djarin in that trailer. And if we think about what is being said in this discussion, Boba is explaining that he is not a bounty hunter. Boba is saying that he chooses to rule with respect. Right after, Din, we think, says, "I have heard that you sit on the throne of your former employer," right? What is implied here? Well, it is implied that Boba wants to rule. Just like Jabba ruled Tatooine, I believe that thanks to maybe having some newfound love for the Tusken Raiders and Tatooine in general, Boba is looking to rule Tatooine, just in the same way that the Hutts, mainly Jabba, ruled Tatooine before him. Tamara Morrison even says that we're going to see some flashbacks of Boba. We're going to fill in his character arc from even way back of Empire Strikes Back. So it's very possible We sort of go on this journey with Boba as he's making his way in the galaxy, just like his father before him, and he's thinking about all of these things. Maybe he even sees some of the injustices in the galaxy, but he's just looking out for numero uno. And it is literally not until he has a second chance at life, a new lease on life, and learns from this tribe of Tusken Raiders, who we do see in the trailer for the Book of Boba Fett. It is at that moment that Boba discovers new meaning for his newfound life, and he wants to rule over Tatooine, not the way Jabba did, but a way better, a nobler way, with respect. This could explain why Boba is helping Din Djarin in the second season of The Mandalorian. Even after he gets that armor back, he's willing to help Din Djarin. I truly believe he will have a reverence for Din Djarin, which is perhaps not even created because of the Darksaber and some of the legendary things that are going to start to make their way around the galaxy and sort of grow Din Djarin into this mythic figure. I think it's all going to come back to that first episode in The Mandalorian Season 2. So now I need to talk about a couple of different leaks and rumors that are out there and how I think the trailer proves at least one of them largely correct and may well tease out the other leaks and rumors as being right in that trailer in front of our faces. Over 7 months ago, there was a leaked scene from the Book of Boba Fett put out on Reddit. In this scene, it talks about a meeting between a hammerhead mob boss villain and Boba Fett. We believe that is this character that we see in the trailer. In that leak, they describe each of them having 3 bodyguards in a meeting that they have. Boba has 2 Gamorrean guards, and he has Fennec Shand, and we actually see in this shot of the trailer exactly that. Boba, Fennec, and 2 Gamorrean guards. It is said in the scene that you will also have that hammerhead villain with 3 bodyguards for him. But it is the last part of this scene that is most intriguing to me. What is described is this vague sense that Boba and this hammerhead villain will now be working together against a third villain or an external threat after having been fighting a couple of different times. So the idea is that these 2 gangsters are butting heads. They have a couple of different conflicts, but at some point in the series, they're going to come together and decide to work together against an external threat. Now let's talk about the rumors that Din Djarin is going to appear in Book of Boba Fett, that Luke Skywalker is going to appear in Book of Boba Fett, and that Grogu is going to appear in the Book of Boba Fett. You see, there's actually a way for all of this to tie together and make sense. As I said before, we think Boba is on this journey to reconsolidate power, to rule over Tatooine, regardless of what his motivation is. We think that's pretty obvious. He wants to be a ruler. But if there's an external threat that is so large to the galaxy that Luke Skywalker would have to stop training Grogu and seek out Boba Fett, perhaps with Din Djarin, that could be a big enough threat to also convince Boba to lay down his war with the Hammerhead villain and work together. You see, it all would make sense. And if you really think about it, there's massive rumors that the whole Filoni-Verse or Mando-verse is setting up for a retelling of Heir to the Empire. Grand Admiral Thrawn is a big villain that Ahsoka is seeking in the Ahsoka series. And so if Thrawn has a base on Mandalore and is doing something crazy on the planet of Mandalore, this could be a big catalyst for the entire galaxy to begin working together, okay? And so this is where I think that reverence that Boba will have for Din Djarin will come into play. It will sort of make Boba want to help Din Djarin just sort of out of that reverence and perhaps be able to bring together all of the different bounty hunters and the sort of army that Boba will have amassed throughout maybe the first part of this series. And I think this will also be the explanation for why Luke Skywalker comes back to Tatooine and comes into Jabba's palace. Now, I want to talk about this because it's a big theory of mine that they are teasing this out right in front of all of us, okay? I spoke to this before on a nerd theory video, but it's like this, guys. I think all of these guys, John, Dave, and Robert Rodriguez, all have a huge reverence for Luke Skywalker in Return of the Jedi coming into Jabba's palace and showcasing his incredible power for the first real time, okay? And what I think is going on in the trailer is there is a shot of a person walking up to the palace by themselves, and I think that's going to be Luke Skywalker, possibly with Grogu. I also think that the shot of Boba sitting on the throne where he's got Fennec Shan beside him saying, if you would have talked to Jabba this way, he would have fed you to his menagerie. I think they are both addressing Luke Skywalker in that moment. And ever since the first poster for the Book of Boba Fett, I couldn't get this idea out of my mind, as I did think there was some figure you can see in the reflection of Boba Fett's helmet. And I can't help but think about how absolutely incredible it would be if they are teasing out portions of the sequence in which Luke will be coming into Jabba's palace to speak to Boba, and they're putting it right in front of our faces in the first trailer. I mean, consider the fact that you cut between a scene where Boba has his helmet off, sitting at the table with all of the other gangsters, including someone who I think is Boss, and then the scene where Fennec is making that statement of, if you had spoken to Jabba this way, she is beside Boba on the throne with his helmet on. And I think in that moment, we are going to see Luke Skywalker come face to face with Boba, a sort of nice callback to Return of the Jedi. And I think that Dave and John and Robert are just crafty enough to hide all of this stuff in this first trailer and put it right in front of our faces. So there you have it, guys. My sort of theory on what they are showing us in the Book of Boba Fett trailer, and how some of the leaks and rumors are informing what I think will be going on in the show. It is just a theory for now, although I do think that it is real. So let me know what you think about it in the comment section below. Like this video if you liked it, subscribe to our channel to see more of our content pop up in your recommended feed, and go check out our live streaming channel. We do a ton of fun content over there, and we will be doing watch parties and live breakdowns / reactions after every single episode of the Book of Boba Fett later this year and into 2022. As I always say, I hope you're having an awesome and a nerdy day, and I'll see you in the next video.